The Battle of Krbava Field was fought between the Ottoman Empire of Bayezid II and an army of the Kingdom of Croatia, at the time in personal union with the Kingdom of Hungary. On 9 September 1493, in the Krbava Field, a part of the Lika region in Croatia, the Ottoman forces were under the command of Hadim Yakup Pasha, Sanjak Bey of the Sanjak of Bosnia, and the Croatian army was led by Emeric D. Renčin, Ban of Croatia, who served under King Vladislaus II Jagiello. Earlier in the summer of 1493, the Ottomans undertook a raid through Croatia into Carniola and Styria. Around the same time, clashes had been raging in Croatia between the House of Frankopan and the Croatian Ban, but news of the Ottoman incursion forced him to make peace. The Croatian nobles assembled a large army and intercepted the Ottoman forces that were returning to the Sanjak of Bosnia. Poor tactics, and the choice of an open battle with the more experienced Ottoman cavalry, resulted in the total defeat of the Croatian army. Background: after the fall of the Kingdom of Bosnia into Ottoman hands in 1463, the Ottomans quickly expanded westward, threatening the southern and central parts of the Kingdom of Croatia. Since then, Ottoman raids were becoming more frequent. These raids were being carried out by the Akinci, irregular light cavalry of the Ottoman Empire. They would ride into Christian territory and plunder the countryside during spring and summer, avoiding the fortified border towns and direct military conflict. These continuous raids forced the local population to abandon their land, leaving the frontier castles without supplies. One such raid began in September 1491, with the Ottoman cavalry crossing the Kupa River and reaching Carniola. On their way back, the Ottomans were intercepted by the army of Croatian Ban Ladislav of Agava and Count Bernardine Frankopan near Udbina, and were defeated in the Battle of Viapile. The defeat at Viapile forced the Ottomans to stop their attacks during 1492. After Hadim Yakup Pasha became the Sanjak Bey of the Sanjak of Bosnia, the Ottomans renewed their raids. Preparations. In the summer of 1493, Hadim Yakup Pasha raised an army of 8,000 light cavalry and attacked Jajsa, but failed to capture its fortress. From there he turned northwest and entered Carniola and Styria, plundering the countryside. The same year, a war broke out between the newly appointed Ban of Croatia, Emeric D. Renčin, and the Frankopans, allied with Carlo Kurjakovic, for control over Say and several other towns. By mid-July 1493, Counts Bernardine Frankopan and Ivan VIII Frankopan had the upper hand in the war and were besieging Say. The siege was lifted after an army led by Ban D. Renčin was sent to help Say, and the Frankopan army retreated to Sokolac. In the meantime, the Frankopans were accused of cooperating with the Ottomans, although their estates were also being ravaged. News of the incoming Ottoman army forced him to make peace. On their way back, the Ottomans sacked Modris, in northern Lika, then owned by the Frankopan noble family. The Frankopans and Ban D. Renčin wanted to intercept the Ottomans, and gathered an army of around 3,000 cavalry and 8,000 infantry from all parts of Croatia. However, a part of the army consisted of peasants from the surrounding areas of Krbava. They decided to face the Ottoman army in an open battle at Krbava Field, in central Croatia. Although Ivan Frankopan Cetinski considered an ambush in the canyons and straits to be a better option. Battle. The Ottomans entered the Krbava Field through the lowest and narrowest local mountain pass of Gorica. Unlike 2 years earlier through the Viapile Pass where they suffered a huge defeat. Before the battle, Hadim Yakup Pasha ordered the execution of Christian captives near Jelšani so that they could not help the Croatians in the midst of battle. After a meeting with the commanders, he sent a part of his army, around 3,000 cavalrymen, to set up an ambush in the forest near the Krbava Field. Although the plan was to fight the Ottomans on the open plains, the Croatian army was initially deployed on the slopes of the eastern part of the Krbava Field, near the village of Vizjuk. The army was set up to face the enemy frontally, and divided into 3 groups. The first one was composed of soldiers from Slavonia, commanded by Franjo Berislavic. The second section was under the command of Ivan Frankopan Satinsky, while the third was commanded by Nikolai Frankopan and Bernardine Frankopan. Croatian infantry and cavalry were equally distributed among the 3 sections. The main commander of the army was Ban Emeric Derenčin. The Ottoman army was also arranged in 3 groups. The first one was commanded by Ismail Bey, Sanjak Bey of the Sanjak of Kruševac, the second one by Mehmed Bey of the Sanjak of Uskup, while the middle group was under the command of Hadim Yakub Pasha. Ishak Bey Krologlu, son of the King of Bosnia, Stephen Thomas, also took part in the battle on the Ottoman side. The Ottoman plan was to draw the Croatian forces further west next to the woods where they had set up an ambush. Ismail's right wing made the first move, heading towards Croatian left flank. The Croatian army left the slopes and rushed to the Ottomans, starting a battle in the open field. The battle was fought closely with swords, with no use of bows. The Ottoman forces were at first pushed back, and started retreating, but the Croatian army was drawn into an ambush. The 3,000 Ottoman cavalrymen located in the wooded area of the Krbava field crossed the Krbava river and attacked the Croatian rear. Then the main Ottoman forces of Hadim Yakub Pasha, also waiting hidden in the forests, commenced a frontal attack. Thus, the Croatian army was attacked from the front, right, and the rear. The Croatian left flank of Bernardine Frankopan could not withstand the attacks of the Turkish light cavalry and began retreating. However, most of the Croatian infantry was surrounded and could not retreat. The Croatian army suffered a total defeat and only a small number of men managed to reach safety in the nearby fortified town of Udbina. The battle started around 900 and ended in the afternoon hours. Ban Derenčin was captured in battle and later executed, while his brother and his son Pavo were killed in battle. Nikolai Frankopan Tratsky was also captured, but was ransomed and released from captivity. Among the killed Croatian nobles were Ivan Frankopan Satinsky, Peter Tuzarinski, Juraj Vlatković and Ban of Jajce Mihailo Pethki. Count Bernardine Frankopan and Franjo Berislavic managed to survive the battle. Aftermath. Although the Croatian nobility suffered a heavy defeat, described by ancient historians and chroniclers as the first dissolution of the Croatian kingdom, the Ottoman Empire had no territorial gains as a result of the victory at Krbava field. Since the losses were heavy, in local tradition the Krbava field became known as the Field of Blood. Peace between the kingdoms of Croatia and Hungary and the Ottoman Empire was signed in April 1495. The next major Ottoman incursions occurred in 1512 and in 1513, and resulted in the Croatian victory at the Battle of Dubica. Following the battle, and in later decades, due to constant Ottoman attacks, local Croatian populations moved into safer areas, northwest Croatia, the coast and the islands, and also outside the country. Franjo Berislavic became the Ban of Jajce in 1494. Historical records. Accounts of the Battle of Krbava field have been recorded in various modern and older historical sources. Among the oldest ones are the report of the papal delegate Antonio Fabregas written on 13 September 1493, in Say, a record from the Bohemian traveller Jan Hasiszczynski on 23 September 1493, in his travel book. The account by the Glagolite priest Martinas in the Novi Vinodolski Breviary in 1493, and the account of the battle written in a letter to Pope Alexander VI by the then Bishop Juraj Divanuk on 27 September 1493. In 1561, the Battle of Krbava field was described by the chronicler Ivan Tomasuk in his brief chronicle of the Croatian kingdom, and in 1696, Pavorita Vitezovich described it in Kronika LTSZ Pioman VSZEGA Svirtavikiv. The numbers for involved soldiers and casualties given in older historical sources are mostly exaggerated. Since news of the defeat spread quickly, the reports written immediately after the battle were made under the impression of the heavy loss